Welcome to Whole Being Health, Function, Vitality and Mastery. Today's talk, we're talking about you're addicted, and here's why. So we know that a lot of people are addicted to specific things, but there are positive addictions and there are negative addictions. Now let me just break down the actual term addiction for a minute. Addiction, by definition, is anything that is negative or anything that doesn't bring about a favorable result, but you still keep doing it. Anything that does not bring about a favorable result, but yet you still keep doing it. So what that means is doing things, because you can only be, by definition, only addicted to things that you deem bad for you, such as smoking, or drinking, or partying, or overtraining. Now, the thing with addictions is that the stigma attached to negative addictions is obviously bad, but there is no stigma attached to positive addictions. So even though I said addictions are things that do not bring about a favorable result, they're typically negative, there are positive versions that are positive by perception only, because all addictions are bad for you. So let me clarify and just get you to understand this. Somebody who drinks alcohol, who is deemed an alcoholic, who no matter how hard they try, they keep drinking alcohol, whether they have the money or not, they'll find it, whether they are sober or not, they'll do it. So that's a negative addiction. A positive addiction is somebody that goes to the gym and they train 3 or 4 times a day, all day, every day. They have no time for anything else. I'll give you an example. I remember when I was working at a gym some years ago, and there was a lady there who, she said she didn't want to have a baby because she'd have to stop training. That's a positive addiction that's bad for you. She refused to stop training, and we always know you don't change through exercise. When you exercise, you actually change when you rest. So if you don't go for your yin and your yang, the yin is the recovery, the yang is the exercise. If you don't go for your yin and your yang, your body is actually breaking down. And that's what happened to her. She got to a point where she collapsed one day when she was at home. She could barely move, and basically was taken to hospital, and they said she had to do nothing for 2 weeks. So there are positive addictions and there are negative addictions. Again, the positive addiction is only perception. People think, no, you should train 5 times a week or 6 hours a day. You know, you see people that run all the time and they may be running 6 or 7 hours a week or 10, 15 hours a week, but they may be so addicted to their activity, they're not actually listening to their body. Their body may be saying, you're tired, you need to rest, your organs need to heal. I know some people that are runners and they're adrenally fatigued. That's addiction, because their body is telling them to rest and they're addicted to the activities, so they keep doing it. So this one is kind of like a little short one. I just want to kind of get you guys to understand the concept of positive and negative addictions. So another positive addiction is somebody who refuses to eat foods that, you know, may be healthy but not 100% certified organic. Now obviously if you've watched some of my videos before, I'm very pro-organic food. But we always have to live by this 80-20 rule. Or, you know, we should try to attain at least an 80-20 rule. Some people are 90%, 10% positive versus negative foods. But some people that are so addicted to the concept of being truly healthy, they will not allow something negative in terms of like a food that might not be totally clean into their diet. But you can do that if you're healthy, because your body needs some negative foods or negative pathogens or negative bacteria so that it learns to actually fight those infections. Think about when you are exposed to people that have specific colds and flus, you need to be around that to build a healthy, strong immune system. So we have positive addictions and we have negative addictions. We have positive stressors and we have negative stressors. So a positive stressor would be somebody who trains and they're training their muscles, they're putting their muscles under stress so their body learns to adapt to the stress. A negative stress would be somebody who is in stress financially. A negative stress is somebody who's addicted to something such as overtraining to the point where their internal organs are having to compensate for the amount of stress through exercise that they're doing because they're overloading their body without having adequate rest. So there are positive addictions and there are negative addictions. The goal here is to understand first of all that that's a rule, positive and negative addictions. So now the solution here is to learn to listen to your body. So a really good step, if you're one of those people that is addicted to exercise as an example, would be to take your heart rate in the morning. When you wake up, don't sit up out of bed because now you're more vertical and the heart rate pumps harder. So you lay horizontal, you take a heart rate. Just take it for 15 seconds and times it by 4. You do that for 4 days in a row. You find your average heart rate. Once you find your average heart rates, let's say on day 1 it's 64, on day 2 it's 60, on day 3 it's 61, and on day 4 it's 64 again. Your average heart rate would be 62. Once you have your average heart rate, then from then onwards, you take your heart rate every morning. And what you find is if your heart rate is more than 4 beats above your average, that means you are overloaded sympathetically or stress-wise that day. So you wouldn't actually exercise at the same intensity. You would go down to what we call a passive or active rest cycle, which means you only work at 70% of the maximum that you would normally work. So if you normally run 6 miles, you may run 4. So you're actually listening to your body rather than addicted to, no, it's gotta be 6 miles. You're actually learning to listen to your body. So we try to get people to understand that there are positive and negative addictions. Remember, the addiction is something that you feel compelled to do, whether or not you want to do it or not. Listen to your body, find your core values and set them in place so that you only do things that are healthy for you and not to the point where you are kind of over-consuming your body's ability to do that particular things. Again, it could be being too present and too available for people around you. It could be doing too much, just always wanting to help, be a people pleaser. That's an addiction as well. It's an addictive mental capacity. So think about what you're doing. Make sure that you are doing only things that you can be present with, that you're not addicted to the act because you feel compelled to always do it, and only doing things that you will to do. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Stay healthy, happy, whole, in whole being health.